Hey there, today's going to be fun. In this episode, I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to make tepache, a Mexican drink. It's fermented. Originally, it was made with corn. Now it's made with things like pineapple, jamaica. You get some piloncillo in there, which is those Mexican cones of sugar. And you let it ferment a day or two with the bacteria that's on the fruit. And within a couple days, you have yourself a nice drink. Within a week or two, you have yourself some pretty decent vinegar. So I'm going to stop this at soda because pineapples and soda are pretty good. All right, let's get on it. All right, here we are. Here's everything I need to make the tepache. This is going to make a gallon of tepache. I've got a gallon of water here. And this is going to go into 3 1/2 gallon ball jars. So the first step, this is our piloncillo. Right, I have a pound of piloncillo here. This stuff, you can't cut it, you can't really break it. I got to get it a little melted down. So that ding you just heard, that's some water that I got started boiling. Let's get that going here. All right, I'm gonna get that going here on the stove. Gonna get that melted down. Now, all this stuff, as you can see, gallon of water. Hibiscus, also known as jamaica, and absolutely delicious. Give you a nice kind of citrusy tart flavor while also giving a nice deep purple to the liquid. Cloves, there's going to be about 4 cloves per container, per jar. I'm going to break this up. This is Mexican cinnamon, and this Mexican cinnamon is going to get broken up, distributed into each pot individually, and then raisins, 1/3 of a box in each one. It's going to give just a little bit extra sugar and flavor. So these are out of the way here. Now I got to break this down. To start by taking off the top. Now, I've read that you can actually take this, as long as you have this intact, take this, plant it in some dirt, and it'll grow a pineapple plant. Where I live, that's not going to happen. So that's waste. However, the rest of all this is going to be usable for the tepache. Right, so let's take this bottom, take the top. Right, now we have the core, we have the skin. Those are going to be the prime things that we're using for this tepache. And as you can see, I'm going a little aggressively with the skin because I want to keep some of that extra pineapple on it for flavoring the drink. So that looks good. I'm going to come here. Now these are great. There's a lot of bromelain in there, so you can actually use them to tenderize meat. I'm going to leave these just as they are. And here, since I'm using a little bit more of the pineapple and using a little bit extra volume, I'm going to keep this flesh. And I'm just going to go through and dice this up. Now with this, one thing I want to do is I want to get that piloncillo a bit cooled before it goes into the jars, because anything that's alive on these skins I don't want to lose, because the sugar water, the simple syrup mix that I'm making here right now, was too hot. Now, one thing to keep in mind when you are cutting this down, pineapple is slippery. Don't let that slip you up. And I just break these into 6 pieces. And then get all these out of here. This right here. We'll save these later. All right, so this is about 40 grams of hibiscus. Really, it's just a few handfuls. ultimately, all this stuff is going to be put back together, right? It's going to get mixed in the same container. So it's not particularly important that everything has an equal amount. It's just what I prefer to do. Now, clove can be potentially aggressive if you use too much of it. So with this, I'm seriously just putting 4 cloves per. And our piloncillo is almost all broken apart. Now there are still large chunks of piloncillo in there. So instead of trying to break them all down, I'm just going to toss them into each one of these containers. For the simple fact that during the course of fermentation, the water is an effective enough solvent to break these guys down. Alright, so that works. Now I'm going to dilute the piloncillo mixture. That way it's not going to be hot anymore. It's going to be a lot less hot. Now keep in mind, we don't want this cold. We want this around body temperature if you can. Because that's going to be the temperature at which all the little bacteria and yeast and things that are on these pieces of fruit are going to grow fastest at. Now things like the core, those are for flavor. And now here I'm just playing a big bit of game of 3-card Monte. Trying to get them evenly loaded. Totally failing at that. That's okay. There we go. Here's each one of our jars. Kind of equally filled. Now to make a mess. Alright, piloncillo is in. And now we just top it off with water. There we go. Now I'm not putting all the water, because I did add a little extra water into the pot in order to melt down the piloncillo. But this is it. Lids on very loosely. You could even go the route of replacing this with a piece of cheesecloth, and you'll be just fine. In a day or so, there should be a good bit of foam. Once you get to the stage where there's foam, you're done. Filter it and drink it. I can tell you Tepache is an interesting thing. It's hard to find the further north you get, but for Latin Americans in total, our food and our drinks are part of who we are. It's part of our identity. Tepache is a really neat one from Mexico, you know, and then you have other aguas frescas, jamaica, that hibiscus flower is used to make its own sweet drink. Horchata de moro, piña, but this tepache is gonna be special. So it's a few days later, we're back. The tepache had to ferment for about 3 days, and now we're gonna get ourselves a nice drink going. But right here, what I did is, when I strained out all of the tepache from the fruit, I kept some of it, threw it into this container, added some fresh water, a little bit of sugar to jumpstart the fermentation again, and now I've got what's going to be vinegar in a couple weeks here. It's going to be delicious. Then I'm going to use it for a bunch of marinades. Here we've got our tepache. Let's get it poured and give it a try. Give it a little garnish. It's a beautiful drink. Yeah, it's effervescent. There's some pineapple, a little lightly sweet, a little bit of sourness to it. The clove is beautiful. The cinnamon is present but not overpowering. It's refreshing. It's light. It's a great drink for when it's 100 degrees out and you're outside and you just want to hang out. A buddy of mine was over on Sunday and he got to taste it. He goes, you know, could you put tequila in this? Absolutely. You can put tequila in it. You can put vodka in it. You can put rum in it. I mean, you do you. Whatever liquor you like, you can throw it in there. I probably wouldn't try, say, you know, a dry gin, like Beefeater or something like that, but experiment. Give it a try. I'm actually going to give it a try later with cachaça that I brought back from Brazil. Make it yourself, super easy, and when you're done, you're going to end up with vinegar if you want it, or the next batch. See you next time.